All right. Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. Once again, well, welcome to today's training session. I am sure it's going to be an exciting time, as I am excited myself. I am deeply excited to be here. It's amazing having learners like myself here. It's amazing having each and every one of us here today. Welcome, 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 all the way from Pakistan, from Nigeria, from Mozambique, from different parts of the world. I welcome us once again to this session, and I hope we're going to have an interesting and amazing time with in this session. A quick reminder, please, as we come in, I want us to mute our mics. As we're coming, just to mute your mics so that we don't intercept the and interrupt the session. Welcome once again. And also, if we have questions, please put down your questions. We're going to be having question and answers intermittently as we go on. There's going to be there's going to be room for us to ask our questions as the session goes on. And I want us to have an open mind. I want us to be ready to learn today, as I am going to learn myself. Welcome once again. My name is Ifedayo Shomotun. I am a Nigerian. I am from the western part of Nigeria. For those that are not familiar with Nigeria, I am from the western part of Nigeria. I am an EYFS educator, and I've been doing this for the past 14 years. So I've been working with children between the ages of 0 to 5. It has been an amazing journey, and that is why I'm here today to share my wealth of knowledge and to learn from everyone too in this space. It has been an amazing time. It has been an interesting journey working with children within this age group. It's one of the, I would call it one of my greatest fulfillments, working with children within this age. And it excites me when I see educators work with children of this age, because one thing I have always known is that when you get it right with children at this age, you have a rest, at least in the next for the next phase of their learning. That's the primary, the secondary, and that's why I've put this together today to talk about becoming an effective preschool teacher. Becoming an effective preschool teacher. So that's the slide. I've introduced myself. Hi there, I am Ifedayo, the lead co-learner at the Acorn Learning Center. What does our center do? Our center focuses on supporting learners between the ages of 0 to 5. And also, one important thing that we do also is to assist educators and train them to become a better person. So we have various CPDs training for teachers that you can learn from both paid and unpaid classes. We have a lot of them for us to learn from, and that's our target, to make educators the best in what they do. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. I hope you are with me. Let me see it in the chat box that you are with me. And I want us to quickly do an introduction as I have introduced myself. Please, let's quickly do an introduction in the chat box. I want to see us. I want to know us at least. Can I have a, can I please mute as you come in so you don't interrupt conversation. Mute as you come in, please. Thank you. All right, so can we introduce ourselves in the next 5 minutes? Let's quickly introduce ourselves on the chat box. Let's introduce ourselves. Okay. Someone is raising up their hand. I'm waiting. Okay. Oh, welcome, Mrs. Kenda Taiwo Fumilola. Wow, it's amazing meeting you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Wow, it's so amazing. Mrs. Kende, I'm really going to get in touch with you. Really going to get in touch with you. Please, you can chat me up later so that I can pick your number, please. Okay, welcome Reshma Jamil from Ghana Welfare Foundation. That's from Pakistan, right? Wow, Mrs. IJ's from Pakistan, you're welcome. Is it Mrs. or Miss Chiamaka Ojina from Mozambique? You're welcome. Miss Oumi Onome from Lagos. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Aisha Hazib from Pakistan. You're welcome. Wow, I have amazing people with me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again. It's going to be an amazing time today as I have people of diverse culture, people of diverse from different continents as myself. Wow. So like I said, please let's be open to learn from each other. As I am the host, doesn't mean I have all the knowledge. We are going to learn from each other. It's an interactive class. So let's be open. Oh, Amna Tahir. Okay, you're an early years childhood educator manager. Wow. You're welcome also, Ma. You're welcome. It's nice having you in here today. It's nice having you in here today. Okay, so while we wait for others to introduce themselves, let's do a brainstorm. I have a picture in front of me, and I know we all can see the screen. I intentionally didn't put their faces there. I can see the ends and just a few, I think just one person, just a child's face. Can you please tell me from this picture in the chat box what you think about what you can see? What do you think about what you can see on the screen? In the chat box, please, let me have our responses. What can you tell me from the picture on the screen? Emrida from Pakistan, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. What can you tell me from the picture on the screen? Or can't we see the screen? Oh, good. Somebody said it's a circle time activity. Another person said it's an activity-based class where the teacher is where the teacher is the facilitator, okay? Another person said the teacher with some kids, okay, some children, some learners, okay? Okay. Yes. Oh, it's an activity-based, okay. Yes, that's true. It's a teacher with pupils. It's a teacher with the pupils having an activity. Someone said it's a circle time. So we are coming to that. So this is a teacher with a pupil. They are actually having a math class. But in the math class, a lot of subjects are being learned. So what they were doing here, what they were having here was shapes. That's the class they were having. They were having shapes as a topic. Shape was is the topic being taught. And in that, the class was extended. The class was extended and it became like an art and craft class. So that tells us that as a teacher, you are not just a math teacher, especially as an early years educator. You are not just a math teacher. You are not just a science teacher. You are all the subjects teacher. Let me put it that way. I'm going to be using simple languages for us, just the way we'd use for children. So let's imagine ourselves as children. Okay. So in this classroom, the teacher didn't just give the children the activity to do, she was involved in it. And everyone's hand was on deck. The teacher has a model. If you can look at the center of the table, there's a model there. There's a model craft there of a flower in the middle. And then the teacher encourages the children to have fun making the same shape. That is exactly what is happening. It's a math class, learning shapes, but it ended up becoming another subject entirely. Why did you think that happened? Why did you think that happened? Why this is happening is because the teacher understands that I have different kinds of learners in my classroom, and I need to touch each and every one of them. That's the essence of this. So that brings us to an effective teacher. Who is an effective teacher? Or what do we understand when we say an effective teacher? I just summarized it in 3 words. An effective teacher is a guide. An effective teacher is a coach. An effective teacher is a compassionate person. I'll repeat again. An effective teacher is a guide. An effective teacher is a coach. An effective teacher is a compassionate person. Good. So when we say a guide, what do we understand by a guide? When you look at a map tells you where you are going to. And that is exactly what a teacher is. So before we go into that, I want us to have an understanding. I want us to understand this, that as a preschool teacher, your most important duty, or what you are called to do in the classroom, is not just to teach math or to teach English or to teach, not just to teach letters, not to teach just numbers. What you are called to do is to build children, is to grow children, most especially in their emotional state. I'm going to say it again. As a preschool teacher, you are not just coming to teach a child numbers. You are not just coming to teach a child letters. What you are coming to do in the classroom is to help build a foundation, build a child in their most vulnerable state, which is their emotional state. So quickly, I think we have a number of people now, so let's quickly do this. Let's meet ourselves. I want about 4 to 5 people to answer this question quickly. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Your favorite city? The most interesting movie you like to watch? Please, let some of us answer that question quickly. What's your favorite color? For me, my favorite color is green and purple. Do you know why I like purple? Purple is royalty, and that's why I love it. I see myself as a royal person, and that's why I love purple. What's my favorite food? I don't think I really have one. Something yummy and interesting. Well, I think I have a partner. Thank you, Miss Hamana Tari. Your favorite color is purple and black, and you love fruits. Amazing. Okay. Someone else. So what's your favorite city? Your favorite city and your favorite movie, film, let's say. Okay. Miss Toluanimi Adekoya says, our favorite color is red. Our favorite food is amala, begiri, and ewedu. Wow. Wow. Your favorite city is Lagos. And you don't have a favorite movie. Okay, I think I do have a favorite movie for now, and that's about you. Okay. Miss Owumi Onome says a favorite movie, my favorite color, red. Favorite food, rice. Favorite city, Dubai. Any interesting movie, okay? Okay, Chika Ojina, favorite color, brown. Favorite food, rice stew with chicken. Wow. Amana Tahir, favorite movies are too many, but a lover of Rio and Top Gun. Wow, Rio, yes. I've seen that movie. I've seen it before. So Jamil says his favorite color is black and loves fruits. Okay. Tolulope, pounded yam with egusi. Okay. Fumilayo, rice, red and wine. That's a favorite color. Christians and educative movies, city to visit, any city that has beautiful things to behold. Okay. And a favorite food, our best food is eba with draw soup. Thumbs up to you. Okay, Samuel, blue, favorite color blue, favorite food beans, France, wow, and Christian movies, wow. Oh, someone says a favorite color is black, favorite food is pulao. I don't know this food, but I'm sure it's something you would enjoy. And favorite city is Islamabad. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, Mary says her favorite color is pink, rice and beans. And her favorite city is Oshogo. Oh, it's a rice dish. Wow, I'm going to Google it and I'm going to check it out. I'm a lover. The thing about me is I'm a lover of experiments. I love to try out new things. I love to try out new things. So I'm going to try it. Rice cooked in meat broth. Wow. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it out and I'm going to let you have, I'm going to send a picture of it to you. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing seeing all this. It's amazing. You see, wow, it's so interesting. It's so interesting seeing different people, different favorite colors, different food, different food choice, different, different things. And what does this tell us? Let's bring this to the classroom. Let's bring this to the classroom. Let's bring this to the classroom. What does it tell us? Now imagine you with about 15 children in your classroom. Right now, I think I have just about few of us that has the same interest. Now bring this to the classroom. What does it tell you? It tells you that you have children of same age. I'm going to use age 3 as a case study. You have about 15 3-year-olds in your classroom. You have about 15 3-year-olds in your classroom, and each of them, as much as they are 3-year-olds, each of them are unique in their own space. Each child is unique, and you cannot treat each of them the same way. You might have a child who loves hugs, and you feel, oh, maybe I should hug every child. And you might be surprised to see another child that doesn't even want you close to him or her. Is that right? Am I making sense there? Every child is unique in his or her own way, just the same way each of us are unique. As much as we are all preschool teachers, we do not like the same thing. We do not have the same taste. Even our cities, the cities we like are so different from each other. So how much more children? How much more children? You see, the essence of being a preschool teacher is just in this our icebreaker. The essence of being a preschool teacher is in our icebreaker. Every child is unique and they are treated as an individual, not as a group. It is amazing that when we started our journey as teachers, a lot of us were not prepared for what we met. A lot of us didn't prepare, but at the end or in the course of the journey, we had to learn, we had to accept what we have, and some of us fell in love with it, but some still struggle. So there are times that it will be challenging, and there are times it will be interesting, just the same way it is for children. The same way it is for you is the same way it is for the children. That's why you need to have some skills to help you. That's why you need to learn some skills to help you in your journey as a preschool teacher. So there are some tips we are going to talk about. What makes us an effective teacher in the preschool? The first one is patience. As a preschool teacher, your number one skill is patience. You need to be patient. You need to learn to adapt to children's behavior. A child can come into the classroom this morning and tell you, I don't feel like working. And to you, you have to cover up your lesson plan. You have to cover up your daily targets. What do? How do you go about it? To an extent, it might be frustrating. Someone said he can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Please let me know in the chat box if you can hear me. Because someone said she can't hear me. So as I was, like I said, patience is your number one. It's your number one skill to have as a preschool teacher. Okay, you can hear me. Thank you. If you don't have patience, you can't run properly in your classroom because children can be very tempting. Children can be very, I will use what they call age 2. They call age 2 we call age 2 the troublesome 2. But I call them the busy bees. When you see a bee, bees are always, you always hear that sound. They're always flying, they're always moving, they're always making that sound. And that's exactly what children are. They don't stay in a place. This can be frustrating sometimes. But when you understand this, when you understand that this is who they are at this stage, the first thing you put on is your patience. If you can't hear me, I think you should log out and log in again. Log out and log in again if you can't hear me. If you can't hear me, log out and log in again. All right. So patience is your first skill. Then the next one is understanding. What do I mean by understanding? You need to understand the kind of children you are relating with. You need to understand what preschool is all about. You need to understand what is expected of a child between the ages of 0 to 5 or the ages of 3 to 5. You need to understand what the curriculum expects of a child or what the curriculum expects you to do. You need to understand your class settings. You need to also understand the uniqueness of every child. That's the best way to teach. The best way to teach or to be an effective teacher is to have understanding of every child. It helps you to know that children likes being valued and they love to be respected. It is not only adults that likes respect. It is not only adults that shows temperament. It is not only adults that shows interest. It is not only adults that wants motivation. Every child, every human wants all that I just mentioned. So a lot of times when people say, he's just a child, she's just a child, I bet and I beg to differ. Children are just little humans. The same way I have a feeling as a teacher, as an adult, is the same way a 1-year-old has a feeling. The same way I want to be respected, also a child wants to be respected. So when you have understanding that every child is unique on his or her own, when you have the understanding that every child deserves respect, it makes your work easier. Number 2, creativity. As a preschool teacher, you have to be creative. As a preschool teacher, your sense of humor has to be number 1, has to be top notch. As a preschool teacher, you should be able to see a bottle and think of what to bring out of it. As a preschool teacher, you need to be able to manage your classroom effectively. That's the creative part of it. You become a clown, you become a Santa Claus. You are everything as a preschool teacher. So your creativity skills has to be top notch. You have to be at the top of your game. You have to be able to think fast without anyone coming in to tell you what it is or what is not. Because the only way to get across to children a lot of times is through play. So you cannot be a rigid person. You cannot say, I'm a frank person. You cannot say, I'm a person, I don't know how to play. Oh, I'm not sure you're ready for the job. Because that is what it is. As an effective teacher, your communication skills too has to be of great skill. It has to be you have to be able to communicate to children, to parents, to your colleagues, to everyone around you. Good communication skill. Every child wants someone who they can talk to. Every child wants an adult or even anyone who they can relate with. But if you cannot pass your message across to a child, how do you want to get to the child? So you need to learn communication. You need to be able to communicate things in the classroom, whether either by body language, verbally, anyhow you want to communicate to your children, to your learners. You need to put into consideration that you are relating with a child, and you should do that effectively. Also, you have to be flexible. What does it mean to be flexible? You have to be bendable. You should be bendable. You can't be rigid as a preschool teacher. No. You can't say, yes, you can, I stand on my words and all that, but to an extent, you should be able to blend to fit into the child's settings. For example, you can't want to talk to your child and you say, oh, I forgot I'm talking to a child. Always remember that you are always with a child. You are with a child and you should relate with them as children. Don't be rigid in your conversation. Don't be rigid in your lessons, because remember, you deal with different learners in your classroom. You deal with different learners in your classroom. So you cannot use one size fit all. You can't use one size fit all in the classroom. That's where the flexibility comes in. If the plan says teach 1 to 10, and you have children that cannot assimilate 1 to 10, would you sit down on your 1 to 10? No. Or if you have children that can go beyond 1 to 10 in minutes or in one lesson, you won't say because the lesson plan says teach 1 to 10, you sit down. That is why there is something we call extension in the lesson plan. So be flexible. Be flexible as a preschool teacher. Don't be rigid. Also, be an explorer. Be an explorer. You should be able to, your children shouldn't be able to predict you. Being an explorer and creativity works together. Your children should not be able to predict you. They should be able, you should be able to come up with new things at every point in time. And how do you achieve this also? Always ask open-ended questions. For example, you're teaching shapes. Okay, for example, you're teaching plants. And then you say, what is the next thing is like, what is this? This is a plant. What is this? This is a plant. That's just an example. That has short the lesson. That has closed up the lesson. But what if you come into the classroom and you bring out a sample of a plant, or you have it displayed on the board? And you start with, oh, I wonder where we find this. I don't, you come up with something interesting. And then you see your children, oh yes, it's a plant. It grows in the bush. It grows, yes, we have this kind of plant in front of my house. Yes, there's another one. You see, you have opened your children up and you've opened your classroom to learning and discussion. Before you know what is happening, the children have taught you. Before you know what is happening, there is room for reflection. There is room for sharing experiences. And at the end of the day, the children would share their feelings, they would share their thoughts, they would share their ideas with you while you share yours. That is exploring, and you have achieved your lesson. You have achieved a class, a lesson that day. Why? Because you were able to open up your lesson Their exploration. The children explored, you were creative with your lesson, you had patience with your children, you understand them, that's why you are able to come up with what you came up with. I hope you are with me. And I hope we are learning something. So as an effective teacher, you need to be patient, you need to understand your children and your environment, you need to be creative, don't make your lesson boring, come up with different ideas. And this is the funny thing, that a lot of times schools would not provide you every resource that you need. You have to be very creative. Schools will not give you everything that you need. I would always use my center as an example. Well, a lot of the resources we use are handmade materials, from boxes, patterns, cardboards, colors, different things, bottles. I have more than 10 set of sound discrimination materials. I have more than 10. And I didn't purchase any of them. What did I do? I sat down and I created these materials myself. From empty bottles to waste around, to little things. And that has saved a lot. And the same thing you can do in your classroom. That's the creative part of a preschool teacher. You have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to know how to get across to your children. You have to learn how to talk to them, how to pass your lesson without being frustrated. That at the end of the day, you get back home exhausted. A lot of times, the reason why we get exhausted at the end of the day isn't because of our brain works, it's because we were not properly, I wouldn't say we were not properly arranged. You get to say, oh, this child frustrated me in class today. I didn't know how to get her. I didn't know what to do with this child. The first question is, do you understand the child? Do you know who the child is? Do you know how the child operates? Do you know what this child needs at a particular time? That is why we see preschool teachers as the second parents to them. Some children will talk to you more than they talk to their parents, even as little as they are. And that's because you communicate well with them, you understand them, and you are patient. You have to be flexible. Don't be rigid. Don't be that teacher that it's only all about what I've come to teach the child. Be their friend. When you plan your lesson, give room for extension and give room for going back. I explained that earlier. When the curriculum says 1 to 10 and you have children that can go beyond 10, are you going to still sit on 10? Some teachers will do that. I remembered my second child was in the school, and initially she was excited about going to school. Then all of a sudden in the term, when you say let's go to school, she'll tell you school is boring. She'll tell you, I don't want to go to school. Why? She has exhausted all that the teacher is teaching, and the teacher refused to move forward because she was the only one who was ahead. So class became boring to her because the teacher was working according to the lesson plan, forgetting that there are different kinds of learners in the classroom. We will get to that. Be an explorer. Ask open-ended questions. Let children come into the class with enthusiasm because they know, oh, we don't know what is going to happen today. Be ready to learn as a teacher. Expand your own interest, because when you expand your interest, it shows on your learners. When you are an interesting teacher, I can tell you, you would have the most amazing pupils. When you are interested, your learners are always ready to come to your classroom. Do we have any question on this before we move on? Do we have any question? Okay. All right, please, can you type your question quickly? Two people said they have questions. Okay, an open-ended question. Let me give you an example of an open-ended question and a closed-ended question. Let me start with a closed-ended question. A closed-ended question is something like this. What's your name? Okay, you were logged out when I was explaining. Okay. A closed-ended question is, what's your name? My name is Ifedayo. That's just all you've asked me. But when you make it open-ended, you say, wow, you look amazing. Can I meet you? And then I will tell you everything. Can I meet you? Oh, my name is Fedayo. I am a graduate of blah, 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 blah. I'm a teacher. I'm a preschool teacher. I love to eat interesting meals. My best color is this. Why? Why am I telling you all this? You told me, can I meet you? Can I meet you does not can I meet you is not just what is my name. Can I meet you as extended beyond my name? Exactly. So when you are asking children questions, for example, maybe you bring out, they are working, they are writing, and then you can just ask, okay, let's assume you're teaching math, and you lay down your map, and you can say, instead of saying, oh, this is a map, what is this? It's a map. A map tells us where to go. You just told the children what it is. If you lay down your map and you tell them, I wonder what this is for. I wonder what this does. I can tell you, you will hear a lot of things. Oh, it's a map. It shows us where to go. It shows us places where we can go to. Oh, I've seen it on the TV. Yes, I watched Dora the Explorer. She uses a map, and the map. What have you done? You are not the one that has provided the answer to that question. You have helped your children think. You have helped them explore their knowledge other than cages. That is what open-ended question does for children and even adults. I hope I've answered that question. I hope I've answered that question. Okay, another example of open-ended question. Open-ended question. Okay, someone said I should give give an example. I just used one. I wonder what this is, or I wonder how do you think this works, or what if we mix red and blue together? What do you think would happen? That's open-ended. Not red and green will give us what? You see, you've helped your child think. You've given them confidence that you built their confidence that they can think on their own, and you make them realize that there's no right or wrong answer. I hope that is clear. I hope we are clear on that. Okay, so we move to the concept of an effective teacher, an effective preschool teacher. Number one, you need to understand child development. Child development is not just about age alone. Child development covers a lot. And as a preschool teacher, you need to have basic understanding of this. This is what helps you to run. This is what helps you to know when to be patient. This is what helps you to know how to relate with your children, with your learners. We have different kinds of development in a child and what you work with and what you build as a preschool teacher. Number one, you are building your child's cognitive development. So you need to know your learner's cognitive development. You need to know how children think. You need to know how they reason. You need to know how they develop so that you can support them with the appropriate activity. That is why I tend to let preschool teachers know that writing and reading is not the first skill of a child in the preschool. Pencil is not the first material a child should be exposed to. But if you do not understand this, if you do not understand children's development, you wouldn't know the first thing to do. The first development of a child is their social and emotional development, their language development, their physical development, then their cognitive development. If a child does not know how to relate with people, if a child does not know how to manage his or her own emotion, does not know how to play with peers, does not know how to build relationship with their peers, if a child does not know how to do all this, that child is not ready to learn academically. Because every of this development is the bedrock, is the foundation for learning. Language development, social and emotional development, physical development, cognitive development. If these are not developed, or you don't understand this, learning is going to be strenuous. Then you come out of your class frustrated. Yes, you are going to achieve results. But the truth of the matter is, you just developed an unbaked child. So as a preschool teacher, you need to understand their cognitive development. You need to know how they think. You need to know how they reason. You need to know when to support them. You need to know the activities to develop, to help them develop their cognitive, to help with their cognition. Also, their physical development. You need to know the different kinds of activity to prepare for a 2-year-old. You need to know the kind of activity to prepare for a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, as they progress. You need to know when to give pencil to a child to write. You need to know what to give to a child to develop their fine motor skills. You need to know the different kinds of motor skills to develop, to help and enhance your child's learning skill. You also need to know and develop their language skill. How do you do this? How do you do this? You help by encouraging language. That is where the early years foundations stage curriculum comes in. The early years foundation curriculum tells us that there are 7 learning areas, but there are I call them three most important areas. That's the prime areas, which is communication and language, PSCD, that's personal, social, and emotional development, physical development. You see, the other 4 are built after you have developed these 3. So if you don't know all this, you might not function well as a preschool teacher. The next one I'll be talking about is classroom management. As a preschool teacher, you need to be able to manage your classroom. How do you manage your classroom? You have a structured environment. You have your schedules. You have your routines. These are things that help children to be secured in your environment. You can handle their behavior by using your reinforcement. This helps you to guide the children in their behavior. You can curtail problems within the environment. You will help these children and you will teach them problem-solving skills. So when you are able to manage your classroom as a teacher, you are developing a holistic child. Also, you know how to manage your space. That when your learner is coming in, they're excited to come into your space. Your space is homey, is welcoming. Your learner do not see you as a scattered teacher. Your learner do not see you as someone who they can trample on. That's classroom management. They know when Miss A says this is it, and that is it. They know how to handle material. That is for you as a teacher. So you should be able to handle your classroom. Classroom management. These are what makes you an effective preschool teacher. Also, an effective lesson plan. Effective lesson plan mainly for preschool, for preschool is play-based. When you're planning your lesson as a preschool teacher, it is advised, and it's not even advised, even in the curriculum. It says most of your activity, at least 60% of your activity, should be play-based and hands-on. Why? Because children learn through play. Most of children's learning are learned while they are playing, not while they are reading and writing. So, as a preschool teacher, you need to understand and know that the effectiveness of your work is not in the rigidity of them sitting to read and write. The effectiveness of your work is seen while they are playing. Because while they are playing, children are relating with each other. In the course of their play, that is when you know a child that is accommodating. That is when you will know a child who can relate with the care, who can share. That is when you know a child who can communicate without throwing tantrums, or well, that is when you know, even if the child throws tantrums, you know what to do. But when this is not happening, I've heard a lot of, not even I've heard, I've seen a lot of cases where parents will say, I don't know if my child was learning in school, or I don't know if my child played in school, rather, because by the time he's home, whole mind is everywhere. The child is everywhere. Why? At the long run, what plays out is that this child is always on the chair. And this is it. The teacher will tell you, sit down there. If you get up, you're in trouble. And then for hours, a child is glued to the chair. No exploration, no fun-based activity, no hands-on activity. All that the child has was just to sit and write. One, you are not developing a holistic child. You are not developing a child, a self-reliant child. And also, you are not developing a resilient child. Studies have made us understand that, and it has been proven that every child learns, or okay, the hours children spend to learn is according to their age, or twice their age rather, twice their age. So a 3-year-old child cannot sit for max from, let's just extend it because of our culture, cannot sit for more than 10 minutes at a stretch, though it's 6 to 7 minutes. But a 3-year-old cannot sit for more than 10 minutes at a stretch. After the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, every other thing you are doing with this child is going to tell on you as a teacher. Every other activity you are doing with that child is going to tell on you as a teacher. you would not be able to get the child's attention. You would not be able to get the child's, you will not get the best of this child anymore. So you need to be able to plan your curriculum so that the lesson is enjoyable. So that the lesson is enjoyable both by the teacher and the pupil. That is why in the preschool, play-based learning is 100%. Even when they write, it should be while they are playing. That does not say they are not going to learn. That's why I always wish I am able to talk to school owners and parents. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to, if my school owner wants me, if the director wants this, if the parents are pushy, this and that, what do you want me to do as a teacher? So it has come to the point where, as a teacher, as a school director, as a school owner, we need to sensitize our parents that learning is not just about writing. Learning is not just about reading. Learning is about developing a holistic child. Learning is about building the emotional development of a child that can stand on their own. And that is what your lesson plan should carry. So you're teaching numeracy. You want to teach 1 to 10. Okay, and the lesson plan says the child is to write 1 to 10. Yes, they can write. Well, it doesn't have to be with pencil. They can write using a modeling clay. They can write using Play-Doh. They can write using stones. They can write using crayons. They can write using color pencils. They can write using different things. And you've achieved the aim. Yes, sand tray. Thank you. You've achieved your aim. And you've not just achieved one lesson. You have achieved about 3 different lessons. 1, you have achieved literacy, because while they are doing that, they are talking. They are talking to themselves. They are talking to you. You are communicating with them. In that, you're doing art and crafts. In that, you're doing physical development. In that also, you're learning about the world. Because when they are using stones and they are writing with it, the child can ask you, where did you get the stone from? That's communication. Oh, I got it from the playground. What's the playground? The playground is under understanding the world. Or what do we call it in Nigerian? I don't know what we call understanding the world in Nigerian curriculum. I'm sorry about that. But understanding the world, you're teaching the child about the environment. You just taught the child about the environment. Playground. Oh, I got it from the playground. Oh, I picked it by the roadside. Oh, what's the roadside? You see, you've opened conversation. Knowledge and understanding of the world. Okay. Okay, thank you. You've opened the conversation. Now, I picked it by the roadside. Oh, by the road. You see? Oh, there was a day I saw a flower by the road. You see, you've opened up a lot. So play-based learning, hands-on activity, helps your lesson to be effective, helps your lesson, helps you to get across to your children faster without editing. So the next one we'll be talking about is adaptation of differentiated instruction, differentiated learning, just from the word different. Like we said earlier, every child is different. As much as they are all of the same age bracket, they are uniquely unique on their own, and they develop at their own pace. So while you're planning your lesson, you have to always adapt the difference. We have different kinds of learners. We have the visual, we have the kinesthetic learner, we have the auditory, we have the read-only learner, we have the writers. You know, we have different kinds of learners. So when you're planning your lesson, or when you're working as a preschool teacher, always ensure to put this in mind. Ensure to put all these learners in mind, meaning ensure to adapt these children into your plan. So, for example, you want to teach sounds. You want to teach the sound. For some children, when you write the sound on the board, they can tell you what it is. Some children, when they just hear you, they've picked it. While some need to touch it. So while you're planning your lesson, there is the visual, there is the auditory, that's the sound, the sound song or you saying it. There's the picture. There's the flashcard. There's the object. Because some children just need to see the object. And there is the writing area with maybe the sand tray, with whatever you might feel you want to use. You have touched every learner when you provide this. Not just, oh, if this, everybody says, there are some children that would never learn in that manner. There are some children that would never learn just by looking at it. Some need to write. Yes, when you have those exceptions, you give them things to write, not compulsorily pencil. You can give them the sand tray to trace it in. You can give them salt, different things. You can go outdoor and give them chalk to write on the floor, on the wall, you know, different things. And at the end of the day, you have achieved your lesson and no child is left behind. That's the essence of adaptation of differentiated instruction. When you are doing this differentiated learning style, ensure to work, if you have lots of children, ensure to work with groups. You can create groups. That's where I talk about the vertical grouping. You can work, vertical grouping doesn't just mean by age alone. You can work with children who are smart and the ones who are just learning. You can pair them up. The younger one learn from the older ones. The not too smart learns from the smart ones. Children helping each other. It reduces the stress on you as a teacher if you use this method. I use it a lot. And the funny thing is I get results faster than myself teaching them or than me working with them. And, you know, they all understand themselves. So they will help themselves faster. That's a method, though. So when you use differentiated learning style, or when you want this is something you need to use as a preschool teacher. It's not even when it's something you have to incorporate into your lesson plan. Also, we are going to be talking about observation, assessment, and evaluation. Observation, assessment, and evaluation. It is essential and it is important as a preschool teacher to always observe your children. It is important for you to always observe your learners. Gather information about their development. Gather information about their learning. Track their milestones. Oh, this child is 2. Because a parent can come in to tell you that, oh, my child knows how to write 1 to 20. Okay, I once had a child like that. And the mom said, oh, okay, the girl was 3. And she said she can count 1 to 30. She can write. She gave me a lot of things the child can do. Yes, the child can do that. But the child was not achieving the milestone for her age. She has less words in her bank. How did I get to do that? How did I get to know that? I observed her. I did not build on the information I had. Yes, I have the information to work with, but I also worked with the information I got through observation. I observed, I assessed her, and evaluated her. With this, I was able to check the development. I was able to check the progress at the end of the term. And everything was documented. Ensure to always document information. Ensure to always document feedbacks. Ensure to always document observation. Don't just look at the child and tell the parent by words of mouth. Ensure to have it in a written form. There's one thing that stands out for me in my center is I give my parents weekly reports, weekly observational reports. I give it to them. So you will not come to me and say this didn't or this. We have it all documented. And that has helped us. That has helped us with parent issues. Wow, someone said she can't hear me. Would you log out and log in again? Would you log out and log in again, please? Please, can we all hear me? I want to be sure we are all following. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the next one we'll be talking about is the social and emotional learning. Well, this is very, 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 very important. This is very, very important because as a preschool teacher, one, you need to know how to manage your emotion. You need to know you need to be, like I said earlier, what makes a teacher? A teacher is a guide, a teacher is a coach, a teacher is compassionate. A teacher is compassionate. So as a preschool teacher, you need to know how to manage your emotion and at the same time teach the children by modeling. You teach the children by modeling. So that is the essence of personal, social, and emotional development in the EYFS curriculum. If you're familiar with the EYFS curriculum and you use it, not just familiar. You make use of it. You would be very familiar. You won't have a problem with social and emotional learning, because it helps you to teach the child empathy. Not teach, you encourage children, yes. You encourage children to understand and care about others. When you care about them, because you have modeled that, it's easy for the children to emulate this. So in social and emotional learning and emotional learning, you are impacting the children to be compassionate, to show empathy, and to relate with others. This here builds their communication and interpersonal skills, and also helps them to make decisions. All this is done through play. Not that, I want us to understand most of these concepts that you are learning and that you are going to make use of. When you are using this concept for your children, you are doing it through play. I watched a video online and of a school. I watched a video of a school teaching the children about empathy. And I think it's one of the schools in China, I think so. They didn't just write it on the board, empathy. They didn't teach the children via words. It was role played. Some children, one was using the walking stick, another was pregnant, another was working like an old man. And then I saw the children that were sitting down like they were in the bus, and they saw a pregnant woman. The girl got up and hung on to the railings in the bus. Another one saw an elderly man coming, and she got up and held on to the railings in the bus and told the man to sit. This isn't just about play. It's about impacting knowledge. When they role play it, they are able to display what they have been taught. Yes, these children are able to display what they have been taught. So that is why I said most of your lesson should be play-based and hands-on. Because you cannot teach emotional and social, you cannot teach emotions and social skills. You cannot teach these two skills by just writing it on the board or just telling them. So how do you do this? Role play. You make use of role play. Hands-on activity, videos, songs. These are things that you use. And before you know it, you have delivered your lesson. So the next one we are looking at is cultural competencies. As a preschool teacher, you need to understand that there is diversity amongst your pupils. You need to know that all your children, including yourself, did not come from the same background. You didn't come from the same family. So you cannot relate with everyone the same way. So as a preschool teacher, you need to understand culture. You need to learn culture and also teach your children. How do you do this? Read up. Especially so those of us that are outside the country. Some of us are not indigenous of this very country. So how do you teach the children you have in your classroom? You need to read up about them. You need to learn their culture. Because one thing is, when a child gets to know that you know who I am and you relate to the child in that way, they will build trust with you. And relating with those kind of children would be very easy and seamless. How do you do this also again? Ensure that your environment is not biased. Don't be stereotyped as a preschool teacher. Cultural competence isn't just even about culture, country, or tribe where you're from. It also goes down to knowledge. Where you say, I have smart children, I'll deal with the smart children and leave the others that are not, that are struggling. So you need to ensure that your class is bias free, both academically and non-academically. So with this, I am sure that we have learned something about what we need to know or how to be a very good preschool teacher. So how do you make use of this, or how do you ensure that everything is in place? One, you need to create an enabling environment, establish an enabling environment, so that all that you have prepared for yourself will sync together. An enabling environment isn't just about the physical settings. It also deals with the emotional environment of the child. And every time I tell teachers that the most sensitive environment you can create is the emotional environment for a child. When the emotional environment is safe, I can tell you that you have covered at least 40% of your learning. When a child is emotionally safe, 40% of your learning has been achieved. Then we go to the health and safety part of the environment. You ensure that all your safety protocols are in place. You have first aid, you have you practice your hygiene. Then we go to the resources. You have all your learning resources in place. That's how to accomplish all that you have prepared. Then also ensure that your lesson plan is engaging, and that includes all learners. We've talked about that earlier. Include all learners. The different kinds of learners, we've talked about them. The different kinds of learners. You have the auditory, you have the kinesthetic, you have the visual learner, you have the writers, you have the readers, you have the artists. Some children draw to learn. It's so amazing that we have lots and lots and lots and lots of different kinds of learners. And when you're planning and when you're doing all this, ensure that they are all involved. Ensure that when your class is not monotonous. Ensure that your class is not one size fits all. Ensure that you carry every child along. And that is what your lesson plan should do. I was fortunate to read up on, I think, Finland. Yes, I was fortunate to read up on Finland, and I've been following them closely for some time now. And one thing that I was able to establish from them is, as much as there's a curriculum, lesson plan isn't 100% for them. I won't say they don't use lesson plan, but lesson plan isn't 100%. Why? Because they say lesson plan stereotypes their lesson. It makes learning rigid. So I'm not going to tell us that we should take a lesson plan. But when you are planning your lesson, leave the space for adjustments. That's where the flexibility comes in. Ensure, give that room for flexibility. Let your lesson plan be engaging. Don't just teach don't just teach because you want to teach. If the lesson plan says our target is, for the session, our target is 1 to 1,000. How do you want to achieve 1 to, okay, let's say 1 to 500. How do you plan to achieve 1 to 500 within 13 weeks for a 4-year-old? The first step in lesson plan, oh, that's another topic. That lesson plan is another topic on its own. But the first step to learning isn't the numbers, isn't writing the numbers, but your lesson plan says 1 to 500. When you're planning, leave a space for flexibility, because you would have some children that wouldn't be able to write that 1 to 500. And at the end of the session, at the end of the term, you would have issues. You will say, this child is struggling. But the truth of the matter is, you have gone beyond the child's capacity. For a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old isn't meant to write 1 to 500. Can the child quantify? That is in your lesson plan. Can the child manipulate 1 to 10? There are a lot to do with 1 to 10. Has the child achieved that before writing 1 to 500? That is in your lesson plan. So leave room for for adjustments. That is why your lesson plan has to be engaging. And I want us to know this. Every child develops at their own pace. Knowledge can be impacted, but cannot be forced. Knowledge can be impacted, but you cannot force knowledge. So what do we do as an educator? Be deliberate about knowledge. Be eager to learn. Go for seminars. Attend trainings. Lots of online courses you can do. Collaborate and connect with other educators so that you can learn new things. See how others do things. Don't be an island of knowledge. As a preschool teacher, you can't even be an island. Collaborate with other learners, other teachers. Learn from them. Follow up on them so that you can have an engaging class, so that you can have better knowledge. This will open you to new technologies. And that's the way to grow as a preschool teacher. In conclusion, as a preschool teacher, you are a life modeler and an integrated part of every child's future. That is one thing I want us to do. We are every child's foundation. A struggling child in primary 6 or primary 4 today. I want us to know that as a preschool teacher. A struggling child in primary 4, in primary 3, in primary, even in the secondary school, didn't just struggle from that class, started from the foundation. So if you are a preschool teacher, I would employ us to give the best that we can. I would employ us to do the best that we can. Because I'm a Christian, so I'm just going to say something, and which is general. Our Bible says, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous man do? When you're building a house and the foundation isn't right, what happens? The building crashes. Even if that building stands for 10 years, even if it stands for 20 years, it will get to a point when the foundation cannot carry it anymore, and then it crashes. So I leave us with this. And for those of us also that wants to know how to use the EYFS curriculum, or really want to function better as a preschool teacher, I will be having an extensive EYFS training starting from next week. That class is not free though, but it's not free. So an extensive 5 days EYFS curriculum training for us to have it right, for us to get it better. We need to know what we are doing. We need to know how to use it. So if you are interested, you can send a DM. You can send a message to me, and then we can pick it up from there. But I want us to know that every child's life and foundation depends on us. Because the formative stage of children is right in our hands as preschool teachers. And I leave us with that. Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, you can ask. If you ask questions, you can ask. I'm open to answering your question. I'm open to answering your questions. Questions, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you too. Okay, ask your question. Ask your question. Please let the questions keep coming into the chat box. Thank you too, ma'am. Okay, all right, I'll start answering the question one after the other. How does one engage children between the ages of 1 to 2? Yes, there are lots of activities to do with children between the ages of 1 to 2, not even 1 to 2, even as little as 6 months old. There are lots of activities you can do with them. That's one of the reasons we need to know we need to track children's developmental age and milestones. So for children between the ages of 1 to 2, what you are working with is building their gross motor skills, their fine motor skills, building their cognitive their cognition, and you are building their hand and eye coordination. So these are activities you can do. You can get them shakers. They're learning sound discrimination, how to differentiate sounds. Fill bottles in with different sounds: stone, sand, beans, rice, spaghetti, water, different things. Let them start to shake that they learn different sounds. As also smell. You can use different bottles to teach smell, just for them to inhale it. At that time, that is what they are learning. The funny thing is, it is inherent. It's not something that you are the one who is really, really teaching them. That is what they are meant to learn at that age. Opening and closing, screws, puzzles, fixing puzzles. You can create puzzles by yourself if you don't want to purchase, and if the school can provide for you. There are different puzzles for different ages. You are building their tactile skills, that is texture. So what do you get? You teach them rough, smooth. You are building their language, you are developing their language skills. So you are talking more to them. Please, I discourage TV learning. I discourage TV learning. I encourage human communication. So with this activity, you are talking to them. Oh, this is smooth. This is rough. You might be amazed at how much they would learn. And also, it is encouraged that we use the proper language. It is encouraged that we use the proper vocabulary when you are talking to children, especially children of that age. Use the right vocabularies. It is rough. This is tall. This is short. These are things you can do with them. I hope I've answered that to an extent. Lots of activities you can check online for different activities that you can do with children of that age. How do you convince parents who really want their children to write at the age of 2? You need to set a standard as an educator. You need to set a standard as an educator. Let parents know what you stand for. I have 3-year-olds in my center. Out of the 3, I have about 4 of them. Only 1 is writing. And why? Because that one learns via writing. No matter what you show her, she's not seeing anything. No matter what you say, she's not hearing anything. The only way she learns is when her hands are busy. She started writing by herself, not that she was taught. Aside from tracing with her hands and everything, from tracing, she picked up the pencil by herself and started writing. I let my parent know this is what these children should be doing. This is how they learn. If you can build them on the other aspect, there's a difference between saying a child cannot write and you're not doing every other thing. when the child came into my center and the mom was like, oh, she can do this, that, and do this and that and that and that, I said, okay, no problem. I started having conversation with the child. The child cannot hold conversation. The child cannot hold conversation. And we had to start from there. I told the parents, I will not build on what we have. We will start from the scratch. Yes, she knows her numbers. But a child that knows the numbers and cannot hold conversation, you have not, you're just building on the surface. Those kind of children end up throwing tantrums in class. They end up disrupting class activity. That's when you say, this child is smart, but she's a trouble. Why? Because you are building something else. So let your parents know what you are for. Let them, that is why as an educator, know the developmental stage of every child. At age 2, this is this and this and this and this is what you should be doing. And you are following it. They would be proud to tell their friends when their friends have conversation with their children. If you work on, because between the ages of 0 to 5, the most important thing, like I said earlier, that you need to develop is the communication and language of the child, the physical development, and then the personal, social, and emotional development. A child is able to relate with people. A child is able to understand people's feelings. If the child listens to instruction, takes instruction, knows how to respond to why questions, what you see, that there are lots of things to learn other than writing. A child understands during role play, understands what is next. I was talking to a parent and she said, I heard my daughter say to the brother, it's behind you. And I was wondering, where did she learn that from? And I said, these are things we are learning. That is math. That is numeracy, positioning. You see that there are lots of things to learn aside from number writing. So when you get it right, and that was why I said earlier, if you want to get it right, you need to know what to use. You need to know how to use it. So to be able to answer some of your parents' questions, madam, I would love you to go through the EYFS training. You will not have you would not fall mistakes to your team, to your parents. You would be able to own whatever it is you are giving them. I hope I've answered that. Okay, another question. How can I take a child that dictates what she wants? Oh, okay, so they call it negotiation. We call it negotiation. The child is not dictating. It's just that we don't have control of our classroom. When a child tells you, this is what I want, if it is at the wrong time, most especially, as an educator or as the teacher in charge, you talk to the child. Okay, this is what you want, but this is what I want. Let's come to an agreement. I do that a lot, and I get my result. People, our culture says that's not right. You can't be negotiating with a child, but a child is a child. A child is human. So if I negotiate with a child, I don't think there's a problem with it. As long as we get our results. And then it makes children feel more like I'm human. So you say, we are going to learn, we want to use the lace and beads, and the child says, no, I want to use the shapes. No, I want to use the shapes. As the educator, wow. Oh, someone says she's unable to come back. As the educator, you need to negotiate. Okay, so I have heard what you said. This is what you want, but this is what we need to do now. All right, let us do this first, then we can come to this. Let's do this first, then we can come to this. I can tell you that it will be rare for this child not to respond to you. Why? Because you didn't say, you have to do this. Okay, yes, I understand this is what you want. I know this is what you really want to do this, right? Say yes. Okay, you know what? I want you to do this activity for me too. And you know, when you do this, it's going to make me very happy. And you would be happy too. And when you do this, you can do this. And you know, it's negotiation. I don't have any other name for that other than negotiation. I don't have any other name than that. And I hope I've answered that question. Okay, so how can I take a child that gets tired easily? Check the length of time you spend with them. The length of time, always have icebreakers for your children. Ensure to have icebreakers. If you are going to have a lesson of 1 hour, every 10 minutes, let there be break. Ensure there is break. Every 10, water break, something break, exercise, rhymes, ensure there is break. That's why the length of time you spend with them makes them tired. That is the answer. Please, can we have a sample of an ideal lesson plan for preschool? Okay. Actually, you see this. Okay. I'll see to this. How can you control hyperactive children who don't like to sit down at all and distract others? Give them activities to do. There are 1001 activities to do. Give them activities to do. That's the answer. Give them things to do. Give them activities to do, and they will not distract others. I think I've answered that. How about a child that gets distracted? Like I said, the number of the times you spend with them determines the results you get. The number of minutes they spend on an activity determines what you get. I said it earlier. The listening span of every child is twice their age. A 1-year-old spends 2 minutes, maximum of 3-4 minutes on an activity, and they are done. A child of 2 spends 5 minutes, let's say 5 minutes, and they are done. Every other thing after 5 minutes is your activity, not theirs enemy. And that's how it is. So to get a child who is distracted, you have to reduce the number of hours, minutes you spend with them. What's the difference between lesson notes and lesson plan? Lesson notes, just as it is. Plan is like a draft of what you want to do. So, how do I put it? Okay, the plan, like I just said, the plan is like a draft of what you want to teach, and then you have your, what are we looking at? What am I learning today? That's what you have in your lesson plan. But your lesson notes, I think it's actually Nigeria that uses lesson notes. Yes, it's Nigeria that uses lesson notes. And I think you write everything you want to write. That's what schools ask of you. You write everything you want to teach inside the lesson notes, everything. So that's where I come in and say, what if your lesson does not go according to the lesson notes? What happens? The flexing. The plan is a draft. You can work, when you draft it, it's just a guideline. but your notes is a generation of what you want to teach. I hope I've answered all the questions. If we have any other question, we can put that in the group. So the group is not closing. Thank you, everybody. The group is not closing as I plan to always give us more sessions to help us improve. So I said, thank you everyone for your time. It's a privilege to be here once again. My name is Ifedayo. I'm an early years educator, just like you, just like everyone. And my aim is to ensure that every preschool teacher becomes the best of who they can be. And that's my aim. So we have other trainings. For those of us in the group who've seen it, some had tried to join some of the groups. So those groups are in-depth, intensive trainings on those topics. Jolly Phonics, we have Jolly Phonics training. We have the EYFS curriculum, how to maneuver the curriculum, how to work with it, what to do with the curriculum, how to draw the lesson plan using how to draw EYFS lesson plan, what to put out for. That's the training. That's what we are doing. The same thing with the Jolly Phonics. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again. Thanks being here with us. So we call it a wrap. But if you have any other question, you can still throw your questions on the group and I would answer. First, the person that made a request for a sample of lesson plan, really, I plan to give, my plan before was to give, was to do was to include the training of the lesson plan in my EYFS curriculum training. But I think I will just look at it. I'll just send a sample, just a sample to the group. I'll send a sample of the EYFS of the preschool plan, the way it should. I will send it. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. It's nice having us. And please, let me see your review on the group to know if you did well, if you got something from our class today to help us prepare for other classes. We would like to get our feedback from you. Thank you very much. All right, we can start to leave the group. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Adifia Onosanya. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.